My name is Hannah Gourgey, and I have a PhD in Communication and Cultural Studies from what is now the Moody College of Communication, class of 2000 for me. And I currently am a consultant working in education and workforce development here in Austin and across the state of Texas. So my first role after my graduate program was actually with a nonprofit in Austin, Texas, serving people with disabilities. My role was to develop strategic partnerships with employers and other community leaders to help support programming for people with disabilities to get them into the workforce. And my graduate degree, believe it or not, was actually essential to the work that I do, partly because it imbued in me a sense of need to work to support marginalized communities in our society. So it gave me really a strong sense of purpose around the kind of work that I do, but also because of the teaching that I did, the research that I did, I was able to really cultivate a strong relationship with many of the organizations. I had a good facilitation skills, and I was ready to really dig into the work. So that all of that was a function of the diligence of and the hard work that I had in my PhD program. Well, I love consulting, but I'm also very grateful in this role that I have as a consultant that I waited until a little bit later in my career to take on this particular position, partly because I was able to, in the first decade or so of my career, build the relationships that I have now that allow me to be a consultant without having to do a whole lot of selling, which is not my strong suit. Let me just start there. However, what I do love about the work is I have a project with the Aspen Institute, for example. This project is to help launch a statewide network serving young people who are disconnected from work, from school and from college, and trying to re-engage them and get them back on track for their work. And not only for their work, just to find a sense of purpose in their lives. And to me, I think the things that I really love about it is, one, I get to meet a whole bunch of different people. The state of Texas is so diverse and it represents where our country is going. So doing this work means that I'm on the cutting edge of this kind of systems change across the country. And I have the ability to talk to thought leaders across the country. And I think all of those make it so powerful. It connects back again to my work in my PhD program, because I have the privilege of applying many of the theories that I learned and were so abstract, honestly, when I was still studying at the University of Texas. My strategy for transitioning out of my graduate program was not to have a strategy. That was the reality of it. I wanted to be open to opportunities while I was in grad school. The strategy that I did use, and I think this is quite important, was I worked within the community as well as doing the graduate work that I was assigned to. So in addition to being a teaching assistant or a research assistant, which I did both of those, I also volunteered in the community around the areas that I was interested in. That gave me the chance to then parlay that into a work opportunity afterwards. So being pretty proactive while you were in graduate school, I guess that was my strategy. But the flip of that is I was also open to making a change that may not have been along my planned trajectory, which originally was to become an academic and teach at a university. So I'm pleased overall with the direction that I went, mostly because I was open to it. Decision that I made to look at non-academic jobs really rose from a teaching position that I had at the University of Louisville in Kentucky. I really loved that job. Part of the reason was because I was working with students who, in very much like in the community college sense, they were taking classes, not really going to college, which is sort of a different mindset. And I realized that my sense of purpose was going to be better fulfilled by working with students who needed me more than those who were already going off to college, that I wanted to be part of the solution to help more young people make that transition successfully from their high school or their workspace into a college and post-secondary degree setting. And that it was my responsibility in some ways to make sure that those same young people who are in my classes understood the value of some of the liberal arts education piece that we had. It wasn't only about workforce training, which is one of the great tensions that I think we have in college today, is are we a career training program or are we for self-enrichment? And we've created this sense of bifurcation, which I think is a false dichotomy. And I worked very hard in my career to try to make sure that that false dichotomy doesn't solidify. I think when you're in a PhD program, or at least when I was in a PhD program, there was a default assumption that you were going to be in the academy, that you were going to go on and teach at a college or university, and that there was a sense of lesser for those who chose to opt into a professional career as opposed to an academic career. And I think my advice to all graduate students who are in the College of Communication is don't think that way, don't. That there's so many opportunities for really deep thinking, for applying the theory that you learn, for systemic change in our country by actively engaging in a professional career, in addition to the wonderful career you can have by being a researcher and teaching young minds. And so I really would say that was the advice I wish I had gotten when I was a graduate student, along with what's happening here, really concrete examples of different kinds of careers that are out there that I could aspire to or visualize. I think we are, again, we are in a time where higher education is under attack for many reasons. The biggest being that it's very expensive and it doesn't seem to be a good return on investment, which is a very parochial way of thinking of higher education. And so I want to encourage all the students who are participating and seeing this video in recognizing that some of the skills that you are attaining, you don't even know you've attained. And the best example in my mind for this is the skill of facilitation. When you're a teacher and you're a TA, you have this unusual space that you occupy where you have to be bilingual. You have to represent the students, and you're in many ways akin to the student, but you're also representing the professor. And the reason why that's so important is that it makes you versatile in recognizing and empathizing with multiple constituencies. And that creates a sense of facilitation that is, in my opinion, a bedrock of good leadership. And so when you are considering the skill sets that you have, of course, if you're in the College of Communication, certain kinds of communication skills related to your major will go with that, will be a match to that. But in addition, think about the deep thinking that you've had, the perseverance that it requires to complete a higher education degree, whatever that level is, and the incredible focus that you have to have when you are bringing deep concepts to a group and trying to elicit really strong responses in one way or the other from that same group so that they can get to think for themselves. That is an incredible skill, and I wish that somebody had told me how much I would learn that when I was a graduate student at the University of Texas. And good luck, and be open to new opportunities as they come along.